Hello there, YouTube and YouTubers. Today we're going to be looking at the top 5 best black commons in Kaldheim. So let's go and take a look. But before we get to our number 5 common, I have to talk to you about our grading skill we got down there. As you can see, our grading skill is going from 0 to 100. At 0 to 35 we got our cards that are weak enough that you should maybe, instead of playing that card, play an extra land, one more than your deck would actually need. Then from 35 to 60 we find almost all of the commons of the set. And then starting at 60 to 80 we got the very strong commons, and we've got also good uncommons in there, and of course our weakest rares will quite often also be in there. Then at 80 to 90 we got our strongest uncommons and very good rares, and then at 90 to 100 we got cards that, if they get to the battlefield, they should make you win the game. Here is our number 5. Number 5, the Elder Fang Disciple. As you can probably see, we got very low marks for it over there. At the aggro side and control side, both of them, the numbers we're giving them is 45 and 50, which is in the normal commons range, so not something you would normally expect to see in our top 5 best commons. Well, black is a very interesting color in this format. First up, most of the cards by themselves will have lower numbers because black is a very synergistic color. Look at that. Synergy, +3 per synergy you get into your deck with a maximum of +15 score. So this goes up from a 45 score card up to all the way to 60, which is just at the edge of a good uncommon or some of the best commons. That's why it's in our number 5, of course. So that's also why I'm saying this card is synergy or bust. You really need to find a way to make this card from a playable card into a good card. But it's very easy to do, especially because almost all, well, actually I would say even all of the synergy cards that the Elder Fang Disciple can use are in black. We've got the Village Rites, we've got Way Down, Demonic Gifts. All of those are of course mono black cards, and then the Great Hall of Sternheim and the Ascent of the Worthy are black-white cards. But even in black-green we've got Harald, which is of course a card that can find you a elf from the top 6 cards of your deck. One of the best things you can do with an Elder Fang Disciple is either sacrifice it to one of your effects, or make sure that it goes to the graveyard while already doing something useful. Say for instance, even blocking a 5/5 creature is good enough if you've already made it discard a card on your opponent's side. You could read it then as a 2 mana, target opponent discards a card, you gain 5 life, which is of course pretty good. If you make the Elder Fang Disciple work through its synergies, it's a very good card. Let's take a look at number 4. At number 4 we find Arcomas Faithful, a 3 mana 3/1 lifelink, and it has also another ability, but that's not really something you usually care that much about, though there are cards in the set that synergize well with Arcomas Faithful. For instance, the Way Down we've put up there. Way Down asks you to have a creature in the graveyard, and when you play the Arcomas Faithful and it dies, you will certainly have multiple creatures in your graveyard, meaning that even if you play multiple Way Downs, if you also have some Arcomas Faithful in your deck, they will all be enabled. Arcomas Faithful really likes it if you give him evasion through some way. I guess it's a her. So in this set, the only ways of giving evasion are flying, and you will find the Raven Wings and the Wing of Flight, as well as the Wing of Cosmos up there. Apart from flying or evasion, Arcomas Faithful really asks you, can you make sure that I hit an opponent more than one time even though I have only 1 toughness? So cards like Run Amok, or even cards like Mammoth Growth, which of course gives +4/+4, will be very good ways of making sure that Arcomas Faithful will deal more than once damage. If you can make sure that in the end Arcomas Faithful trades with one of your opponent's creatures, and it's also hit more than once, it means that you'll have traded cards while it has gained you at least 6 life. Just like with the Elder Fang Disciple, this card can get a lot better through having synergy in your deck, be it either having creatures in your graveyard is good for your deck, or giving flying is good. The Arcomas Faithful will certainly get along stronger for me. Our number 3 common. Grimdrauger, one of the few aggressive snow cards in the set, and that's why I also put up there. Grimdrauger is hard to use. I think it asks you to be a pretty good deck builder. because you're going to have to find some snow lands, and you're going to have to find a way of making your snow deck somewhat aggressive, while some of the snow cards are of course defensive, and other of the snow lands come into playtime. So it's not that easy to make a deck with a Grimdrauger in it. But if you make it work, the Grimdrauger will certainly reward you for it. I would say that a 3 mana 3/2 in this set is already, because of what the creature will meet, a pretty good creature, but it having a way of getting +1/+0 in Menace is of course very good. At the same time, Menace, I would say, in its ability cost, the 2 mana, is the biggest part of what you're paying for, not the +1/+0. So that's why I'm saying that using the ability multiple times is not that efficient. And that's why I would say it's a light snow motif you would have with a Grimdrauger in your deck. Grimdrauger really likes it if he's allowed to attack more than once, and things you can use to make sure that it does are cheap removal spells, or of course the Carvel Candlemaster we got over there, which will give it a free attack. The number 2 black common, Jarl of the Forsaken. Very important common for black. I would say that it really synergizes well with certain cards, just like the other black commons, and it is one of the few black cards that has foretell. If your opponent is playing black and they foretold something while they didn't show any other colors, there's a good chance that the card they foretold is either Jarl of the Forsaken or the Poison in the Cup, for instance. So no matter what, if you play against black and they foretell something, there's a good chance that they're playing a removal spell from their foretell zone. What makes the Jarl very good is, in my opinion, that by itself it's already a pretty good playable creature. 4 mana 3/2 flash is not great, but almost playable. It even has the, of course, kill something that has already been damaged clause. It also has foretell, and because of its flash ability can be used as a surprise blocker. This card really likes it if it's combined with creatures that have either first strike, meaning that you can let your first strike creature deal damage, and then before your opponent's creature will do return damage, kill it with the Jarl of the Forsaken, or if it's combined with creatures where most of the cost of the card is used in its enter the battlefield effect. For instance, we've got the Brine Barrel Intruder up there, but also the Fang Disciple we already saw earlier, and other, whenever this enters the battlefield, do an effect cards will combine very well with Jarl of the Forsaken. The more of the cost of the card is spent to enter the battlefield effect, the better the Jarl of the Forsaken will combine with the other card. Just like the other black cards, once more I'd like to point you towards the synergy of the card. It's very good if you do synergize. If you don't, it's less interesting. Crush the Weak I've put up there because I think that if you do want to use the Crush the Weak, there's a very good chance you want to throw multiple Jarl of the Forsaken in your deck. It's a very good idea to turn 2, foretell Crush the Weak, turn 3, foretell Jarl of the Forsaken. Your opponent will likely be building up their board by now, and then you will Crush the Weak. There's a good chance that your opponent will have one strong creature left over. The Jarl of the Forsaken will take care of that, which means that you've killed all of your opponent's cards through Crush the Weak and Jarl of the Forsaken, while you get left with a 3/2 creature, and then you can give the turn back to your opponent. You, in this way, can kill, say, 3 of their cards for 1 of yours, or more if you're very lucky, of course. One of those 3 cards even can be a very strong card. I think it's a very nice combination. If you want to use Crush the Weak, think about Jarl of the Forsaken. Hagi Mob, in combination with Jarl of the Forsaken, is of course a different way of making sure that you can kill rares or other big creatures on the side of your opponent. Our number 1 black common, I wonder what it might be. Feed the Serpent. Yeah, it's probably not the most interesting common you'll ever read. In fact, it only has 5 words of text on it. Well, that is to say, in its explanation box of what the card does. I mean, there's a grand total of like 9 non-flavor text words on this card, so it probably does some amazing stuff. Well, it sort of does. Exile target creature or planeswalker is just very strong. It's equally strong in aggro as it is in control. In aggro it will very often try to remove one of your opponent's good blockers, while in control it could be very well used to remove something your opponent using a trick on, say, a smaller creature, and then you use a combat trick on it. Well, if you can respond with the Feed the Serpent, you'll be very happy. it really has no certain synergies in the set. I hope you're not surprised. I mean, how could you combine this very favorably with another card? Maybe there's some rare, mythic rare I'm missing, but yeah, good luck with that. Anyway, the card is very strong. At the start of the format, I thought this would probably be the strongest common of the entire set. It turned out not to be so, but still, it's very strong. Just play it. So all in all, if you're going to be playing black, there's a good chance that you'll try to get multiple Feed the Serpents and very many synergies into your deck. There's a good chance even that if you're very high on your synergies, some of the other commons might be better than Feed the Serpent for your specific deck, especially after, say, the first or second Feed the Serpent. But all in all, Feed the Serpent is a very strong card, and the other cards are very synergistic. Black is not the easiest color to play in this set, I would say. If you want to go for a more easy deck, try to go for red or green. But if you draft well, black, even in this set where people will say it's a very weak color, can be good enough. All in all, I wish you very much luck with drafting your black decks. I think you can have a great time with it. It's actually my favorite color in this set because it's just, well, it's more fun, I think, to have these cards that are sometimes bad, but because of the certain combination of cards you have in your deck, are suddenly quite good. I hope you had some fun with this video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. You will find on this channel other videos about the best commons from each other color, and you will also find some videos about the mechanics from Kaldheim and other Magic the Gathering videos. Anyway, see you around.